Alright, I am Altbeer, and I want to welcome you to my channel, which has been unused in about a year since this time last year for DEFCON. And what I wanted to stream out tonight was the badge life that I put together for this year's DEFCON, and just show everyone what the kit includes and what the fully assembled badges are going to look like. So this is my badge life reveal. So let us get on with this. So what we have is, actually, I can turn this guy off. What we have here is the way people are going to get the kit. Big static bag, shows a sticker, the little boutonniere, Corsage on that side. It'll probably have a sticker printed on it explaining what it is, but I haven't gotten to that yet. So let us see what's inside. Now, for those that don't know, this is a kit, so it will have to be assembled, but it includes everything you need for assembly. It even includes batteries. Batteries are included. So I'll go ahead and lay some of these things out. You can see I really love anti-static bags because you get lots of them. I will warn you, this one is a little tricky to pop out of there. And so here we have the main PCB. You can see the artwork there. And on the back, nice labels explaining where all the parts are going to go. And we'll have an instruction sheet, might be in the bag. I haven't gotten that far yet, if I'm going to include that or not. But worst case, we will have the instructions printed on the website, which is printed on the badge. So you can just go there, and you'll be able to see the instructions on how to put it together. So what we have the PCB lanyard. Let's pop this out. Take a look at the lanyard. See, that lanyard has some cool artwork too, more flowers. Now, just a note on the flower artwork, a lot of these flowers were drawn by my son, and some were just fonts that I kind of converted, and then others were just kind of hand drawn by me. So there's a lot of different flower artwork on the badge, but these particular ones on the lanyard were from my son. He did a great job with those. So yeah, you're going to get the PCB, the main PCB, a lanyard. Then you'll have these 3 static bags, battery, and a sticker. And the stickers turned out pretty cool. So what we have in these 3 bags is 2 of them are for the main badge, which I'm calling the Corsage, and 1 of them is for the Boutonniere, and it's almost a complete kit on its own. So you can see it has all the parts in there. So if you're building just the main badge, you can take this bag and set it aside, but we'll open them all up in due time. So let's stick with the main badge. So we already saw that we have PCB, we got a lanyard, we got the batteries, and then we got a big bag and a small bag. We'll open the big bag first, show you what it comes with. So the first thing is the Raspberry Pi Pico. So the Pico is a cool board because it's a microcontroller for interfacing with other hardware stuff, similar to like an Arduino or a TI Launchpad or things of that nature. And it's fully supported by Raspberry Pi. Now, what this comes with, I've already preloaded a firmware called CircuitPython on here, which is put out by Adafruit. And I also preloaded the code to run on the badge. Now, this can be easily changed by anyone with the badge simply by plugging into the USB port. Hook that up to a PC or even a phone. I've hooked it up to a phone and got it to launch. Basically, it launches as a mass storage device, just like a USB stick. And you're going to see the Py file on there, the Python file for you to edit. So you can easily edit the code from anywhere without any kind of tool chain. So that's why I went with a board like this for the badge. Then what we have here, this is a little taped together package with both the battery connectors. So there's a double AAA. They're AAA batteries, but it's a 2X AAA, and then we have a 1X AAA. And the reason I taped them together was to protect the pins. That way the pins aren't sticking through the bags or bending or breaking off. So you'll have to deal with some tape when you're getting ready to build. Then we have a strip of header pins. This is for the Pi to attach it to the badge. What else do we have? We have our little flowers. These are 3D printed flowers that go onto the badge in the four places that they're marked. And these are going to act as LED diffusers. You can see they're hollow in two places where the LEDs are going to go, so it'll light up with the LED light. And I want to thank all the people that helped me 3D print these. In order to get all the 3D printed flowers for the Corsages and the Boutonnieres, I ended up needing 1,300 of these little guys, and I wouldn't have been able to do it all on my own. I did maybe 750 on my own, but the rest was all crowdsourced by wonderful people that helped and shipped me flowers so that I could pack them up in these kits. Then you'll see these little screws in a bag. There's self-threading screws or self-tapping screws that will screw these flowers onto the PCB. And those are M2s, meaning they're 2 millimeters wide. And then we have M2.5s that are threaded with nuts, little lock nuts, and those are for the battery connectors, to hold these battery connectors on. You see the hole in the middle. There's an M2 2.5 screw that goes in there for both batteries. This way you don't have to worry about the battery connectors falling off because adhesive didn't stick like some of my past badges. I used hot glue and that would start to peel, and so no more. We have screws now. And one of the things I was worried about was at DEFCON, not everyone has a teeny tiny screwdriver. They might have a soldering iron, but maybe not the screwdriver. So every kit will include a teeny tiny screwdriver that will work with the M2 and the M2.5 Phillips heads. So that was all in the first bag. So that's the big parts for the badge. Take a look at what is in the second bag. This is the little parts. I'm gonna shake them out because they're in there pretty good. And then I'll explain what all of these are once I get them out of the bags. All right. So what we have here is our LEDs and some capacitors, and let's just line these up so I can go over them. So 4 of the LEDs are what some people call neopixels. They're addressable LEDs. So these guys, they got 4 pins. There's basically positive and negative power, and then you have a data in and data out, so you can chain them together. These are the big part of the flower. That's going to be those fully programmable ones. Then we have these LEDs, which are only 3 pin. These are traditional LEDs in that they're not programmable, but they have 2 colors, so they're blue and green. And this is so that you can change the color of the leaves between different shades of blue and green. And so being regular LEDs, if you want to make them dimmer than just on, if you want it to be more than just an on or off, you use something called pulse width modulation, or PWM. And the Pico has lots of PWM pins, and so we're using PWM to adjust the brightness of the blue and the green on those LEDs. And then we have 4 little capacitors, and these are for our addressable LEDs. They need a capacitor in line. We have a little switch. This is the on-off switch, and this is part of our power circuit. So we have a 22K ohm resistor, and then this tiny guy, this is a transistor, a PNP transistor that's used in the power protection circuit. So I'm going to apologize in advance. I know this is going to be difficult for some people to hand solder on the badge, but it is possible. I made the pads big enough on the badge. So if you can see, there it is where my thumb is. That's where that guy is going to go. And it has nice wide pads to allow for hand soldering. But that's important. That way, if someone puts the batteries in backwards or hooks it up to USB power while the battery's still on, it won't damage anything. So everything will stay safe on the badge. So that was why that's there. And then the last thing is this big strip of resistors. These are the resistors used on all the LEDs. They're 470 ohm resistors. That is all of the components. So now, before we get to the Boutonniere, I will show you what a fully assembled one of these guys looks like. And so here we have one fully assembled. And you can see the flowers, and you have the little screw nuts for the battery connectors. They're not too prominent. I was hoping to use a smaller hex nut on there, but the problem was they got loose, and so that's why I had to go with these Nylox, which are a little bigger. And then this is the back, so you can see the Pico is on there, and I mounted most of the components on the back. The only thing that's really front-facing is the LEDs themselves. And I guess we should do a power on reveal. Show what it looks like. You turn this light off. Yeah, that way you can see it. So yeah, it's got some nice brightness to it, and I think the 3D printed covers really did an awesome job showing off the light that's coming off those badges. So that's your Corsage. It took me about, well, after I've done a few, it took me about 20 minutes to fully assemble it, solder everything in place. It'll probably take the average person who's not doing a dozen of these maybe 30 minutes or 45 if you're not that experienced with soldering. Next, we will do the reveal of the Boutonniere. Actually, let me move some of these things out of the way before I start losing things. Just scoot you guys over. All right. So our Boutonniere, like I said, it's a separate package, and it also has a little baby inside. And so what we have in the big package is the PCB, which you can see the PCB here. It's not that big. It has the full layout of what goes where on the back. It has a single flower, a coin cell battery connector, and a coin cell. Now our little guy has all of the parts. So let's open that up and take a look. And this is going to be much more simple. So what we have for this guy is 2 LEDs. This one has 4 pins, but unlike the other badge, this one is not addressable. This is a traditional red, green, blue LED. So that means, and it's common cathode. So that means it's going to have 1 negative pin and then the 3 positives feeding the red, green, and the blue LEDs. And then we have just a standard green traditional LED. We also have 3 variable resistors or potentiometers. They have 3 pins. And we're going to use them, I guess, like a rheostat, because we're not using them for current. We're just adjusting the resistance. And then with those, we have 3 resistors that are just 47 ohms. And the reason for this is these variable resistors can go all the way down to 0. And we don't want to hit 0 on these 0 resistance on the red, green, blue, because it can damage the LED. So to prevent that, I put just a very low resistance on there as a minimum. And then we have 2 different resistors here. One is a 220 ohm and the other is a 100 ohm. And that is for the green LED. So you have a choice to make. And the choice will affect how bright that green LED is. So I thought that the 100 ohm resistor made the green LED a little too bright to where it was overshadowing the bigger LED on the flower. So I put a 220 ohm in there, and that's what I like to use. But my kids like the 100 ohm. They think it looks better. So I just included both to make the choice. Then we have an on-off switch, just like the other badge. And our little screws again. Now we have 2 of them are self-tapping for the flower. And then we have 2 that are threaded with little hex nuts. And this is for the brooch clip. So this is a pin-on. So it can be pinned on and you wear it just pinned onto your clothing. So yeah, that's kind of how this one lays out. Now, one thing I'll point out is if you didn't want to use the coin cell to power it and the brooch clip, what you could do is I wired in a shitty add-on connector or SAO connector. So I didn't include the connector, but I figured there's going to be enough of them floating around at DEFCON. If you wanted to make this an SAO to attach it to another badge, you can just put the pins in there and it'll power off of that. So let us show you what this looks like fully assembled. And here is the boutonniere fully assembled. I'll show you on the back. Now, the reason that we have the 3 variable resistors is these can be adjusted to control red, green, and blue on that RGB LED. So you can dial in what color you want the flower to display. It's not going to be changing colors the way the other badge is. It's just going to be a solid color, but you can change what that solid color is by adjusting these values. It has an on-off switch just like the other one. So let's go ahead and turn it on and show you what that looks like. Camera kind of blares it out. But basically you can get the green, and then you have, you can see I made this one pink, but you can adjust the colors with just any screwdriver, like the mini screwdriver that comes with the kit. So let's say I turn that all the way off. Now it's, make sure these are all. So now I got blue, green, red, and that's not showing up too well on the video. Let me try that with this off. All right, red. Yeah, LED lights just don't like cameras for some reason. But yeah, you can just, by adjusting these things, change the color. And that is the majority of what I wanted to show everyone. So this is the badge reveal for my DEFCON badge life. One major thing I wanted to note is that in past years, I've always given out badges for free to people that couldn't afford them or what have you. And I always estimate I'm going to give out a certain percentage, and it always ends up being half or more than half. So this year I just planned it in. I'm going to be giving away half the kits. We made 250 kits, and we're going to be giving away 125 of them. The other 125, we're going to be charging $80 a kit at DEFCON. And that covers our costs and also helps raise money for some local DFW charities, including B-Sides DFW. So we're not looking to make a profit off these. We just want everyone to enjoy this badge life. So if you can afford the kit, and then buy one. If you can't, then we'll give you one. So I hope everyone has a chance to get one of these at DEFCON. We'll start at LineCon on Wednesday night is when we'll start doing our badge drops. So look for me on Twitter. We'll be posting the badge drops then. And I can't believe DEFCON is only like 18 days away. So I hope everyone out there is as excited as I am for that. I will be posting another video in a few days that will actually do a complete walkthrough of badge assembly. And all of these videos, this one and the badge assembly, will be going on to my YouTube channel so that it can last more than however many days Twitch keeps it. So yeah, that was it for tonight. I want to thank my one loyal watcher for joining me tonight, and hopefully more people will watch this on YouTube. So, all right, thank you so much. Talk to you all later.